Hi everyone, it's Tsuki. The servers have finally gone down. Endwalker's gonna be here within less than 24 hours of the time recording. And I'm finally free. I'm finally free. I'm finally free. Okay, so you read the title right. I have 16 characters in Final Fantasy XIV, across 2 different accounts. Each character is at least has one job at level 70, has reached the start of Shadowbringers. No job skip potions or story skip potions. I did this all legit grinding. I used some tactics to help myself out, and basically this video is just going to be sharing how and exactly why I even bother doing this. Spoilers, it's to make gil. So longtime fans of the channel will probably be aware that I've always had multiple characters on my main account, but for the most part I usually just spend time on my 2 main characters, Fyuria and Luana, named after Akari's 4 characters of course, while the rest of my characters are really just kind of remnants of a time when I decided to level another character from scratch for fun, or just to re-experience the story. It wasn't really until recently that I decided that there was some good practical use for my characters if I could get them through the story and to the start of Shadowbringers. So many crafters probably already know where I'm going with this, and that is of course the incredibly lucrative method of using triple turn-in leaves to make gil. Of course, this is all getting nerfed in Endwalker. They're going to be nerfing the rewards of XP and gil for triple turn-in leaves while also increasing the other types of leaves, so I imagine we're still going to be able to make some decent money with triple turn-in leaves or even just a single turn-in leaves, but it's not going to be as good as it has been for Shadowbringers for sure. I am definitely sure that we're not going to be making as much money, but believe me, I got my money's worth when it when it comes to really milking the most out of that method. When the expansion first started, I actually wasn't using leaves that often to make gil. Like, actually back then I was actually more focused on collectible turn-ins, because for those of you who maybe didn't play back then or didn't use the collectible system that much before, they changed it with I don't know if they changed it at the same time as Ishgard Restoration started or maybe just right before, but they changed it so that collectibles were different basically halfway through the expansion. Before, you could basically craft a variety of just normal crafts that you have, and you just turned on your collector's glove and you did it that way, and then you could turn them in whenever those items came in rotation. They rotated each every day, and when you turned them in you got gil on top of, you know, your scripts. So they changed that, so they got rid of the gil rewards and they made you specific recipes to do for each level tier, and you can't make gil from those anymore. When they removed that, I basically like, oh well, shit, that was how I was making a lot of consistent gil, you know, other than just, you know, selling stuff. And selling stuff is stressful, you know, on the market board, because you gotta always pay attention to everything and always be on the lookout to undercut other people who are undercutting you, and you can never just post something on the market board at the same price as someone else and expect things to go all handy dandy and, you know, it's just whoever sells theirs first sells theirs first. No, everyone's got to undercut everyone, and that's just kind of the way it is, and I hate doing that. So I wanted to make gil from the system, you know, from the game itself, because that's consistent. I always know I'll be able to make that gil. I don't have to worry about stressing over, you know, always having to check my retainers every 5 seconds just to make sure that my item is listed first, you know. So I turned to leaves, and back then not really a lot of people were doing them. I imagine it's because not a whole lot of people had leveled their crafters before, and I even made a video about it, and more people started kind of jumping on the train. And at first I was like, man, this is a lot of gil, and it was, even just for one person. But then I started to realize, well, if I can make this much gil on one person, what if I did it on Luana too? So I made a leaf kit, leveling her up, her crafters up. I didn't craft a single thing on Luana. I literally just made leaf kits on my main character, transferred them over in my Grand Company chest. Thank goodness also I'm the free company member or master, because I can just, I mean, no one's going to contest me on me putting stuff in the chest to transfer between characters, because, I mean, I'm the master, so they don't have any say in it. Also, my free company, everyone in my free company has an alt or something, so it's like, it works out. We're all weirdos. We all have alts. Like, literally everyone in my free company has at least one alt. We're all alt lovers here. So anyways, yeah, I did that for Luana, and all of a sudden I was doubling my income. I was making like over 200,000 gil a day, basically, from the 6 allowances that you get, every 24 hours in game. And then all of a sudden I was like, that's really nice, and I was really satisfied with just that. Then, like, kind of as I started to run out of, side content, I got all my jobs leveled, I got, all the stuff I wanted from all the, like, primals and stuff I was doing at the time, crafters leveled, everything. I started, looking for other stuff to do. I was like, well, I can make this much gil on 2 characters. What if I just leveled the rest of them? And that's kind of what happened. Basically, I took the rest of the character slots that I had on my main account, and I basically just kind of slowly, over time, got them to level 70 to the start of Shadowbringers quests. You can unlock leaves in the Crystarium, like, very quickly once you reach Shadowbringers. Like, literally, like, a few main quests in, and you can unlock leaves pretty quickly. So I didn't even really have to do much of Shadowbringers, unlike Stormblood, where you kind of have to go through quite a bit of Stormblood before you can unlock leaves. You get leaves in Kugane, you have to do the Siren Song Sea and everything. It takes a while to get leaves in Stormblood, but thankfully in Shadowbringers it's pretty quick. So I did that, and for a while I was also content with just having that done, because I had 7 characters all at least level 70, making gil in the Crystarium with leaves. It was a lot of fun. I was making a lot of gil. I was making a lot of gil each day. It was a lot of work, but it was also a lot of fun. A reason why I say 7 characters is that my 8th character on my main account, Chelly, that's being saved exclusively for that Let's Play series that I will eventually get back to. I know I haven't been working on that. It's because I've been working on this. So, I was really content with that until about 7 months ago. In about April of earlier this year, I decided I was going to dig up an old trial account that I made a long time ago. I used to record some footage for the original A Realm Reborn title screen, I think. And that was for the 5-year anniversary video that I made. And, we just hit the 8-year anniversary a few months ago, so that's how long that's been. Holy shit. But yeah, I don't know, I dug that up because I was bored one day. I was like, I want to see what the trial account can actually do, with, the updated stuff that they did to the free trial and everything. And, it's really restrictive, actually. You can't really experience many of the social features. You definitely can't make gil either, seeing as you can't trade or use the market board at all. Which is probably a good thing, honestly, because RMC would be exponentially worse if you could. But basically after spending a few hours with a free trial, I decided to just bite the bullet and upgrade the second account to a full account. That meant buying the complete edition of Final Fantasy XIV, and adding a second subscription. I was literally buying the game and its sub twice. But for me, it was, you might think it was like that's crazy to do, but no, I was totally fine with it because I had fun. And I spent, that's a lot of money, but it's just, I had fun doing it, so that's what I did. And you might think, yo, well, if I spent that much money, I might as well just get some jump potions, right? Get all my characters 70 and into Shadowbringers immediately. First off, to do that for 8 characters would be insanely expensive, and also it would take the fun out of it. So literally from scratch, from April of this year, pretty much all the way until about September, I leveled 8 characters. 8 more characters, I should say, to 70 plus, got them into Shadowbringers, got them into Crystarium Leaves, and that's what I've been doing. Just kind of in my own time. Literally, a lot of my free time was pretty much dedicated to doing that. And it sounds a lot crazier than it is. I mean, it's still pretty crazy, but it sounds crazier than it actually is. Because basically having a secondary account made it so I could really take advantage of a lot of things to make these 8 characters breeze through the story much faster than just kind of leveling a character normally from scratch. Firstly, I spent way too much time charting out a bunch of crafted gear from 1 to 70 for every character and crafted them all myself. Well, not everything. I did take advantage of the fact that a lot of the quests in Heavensward and Stormblood actually reward you with HQ gear. So I literally crafted everything for like my first couple characters, and then I was able to obtain free HQ gear from basically just questing through the main quest to reduce some of the stuff I'd have to craft for my following characters and so on. Basically, I ended up with pretty much a huge inventory of just HQ gear that I just have across all my characters now. I mean, I could try to sell it, but also it's like such a hassle to log into every character and try to, juggle all the market proceedings, and that sounded like a nightmare. So it's just all in my inventory now. I don't know what I'll do with it. I'll probably just keep it just in case. But probably the biggest thing that made getting through the story 8 more times so much faster was the fact that I could literally carry myself through pretty much all of the dungeons and trials by unsyncing them. I had my main account loaded up on my PS4 Pro, had my second account on my PC, and whenever it came time to do a dungeon or a trial, I could just invite myself to a party and unsync myself through it and skip all the time spent just waiting in queue for players to fill in. And typically it was way faster just unsyncing most of the stuff than doing it normally too, so I saved quite a bit of time honestly doing that. Sure, in a lot of later dungeons and trials, my character that I was carrying would usually die immediately, but it didn't really matter much in the long run. I mean, that's just a little bit of extra gil you have to spend on some repair costs, which is totally fine. Now, you can't unsync everything. Basically, from the start of A Realm Reborn to Shadowbringers, I basically had problems with five instances. The first 3 are Crystal Tower. You have to do Crystal Tower in order to progress through patch 2.55. You can't unsync Alliance raids, nor would you want to, especially if there's only one person. It would literally be impossible. So I had to do Crystal Tower, all 3 Crystal Tower raids across all 8 characters again. So that was fun. And this was on top of the fact that I had to do Crystal Tower for the resistance weapons. So I've probably done Crystal Tower hundreds of times this expansion, and I hate myself for it. But you know, Circus Tower I'm actually still okay with, but Labyrinth of the Ancients can really screw off. But aside from those 3 Crystal Tower runs, the only other 2 trials I actually had trouble with were Susano and Tsukiyomi. The problem with Susano is the fact that the ad phase is literally you have to hold the sword and break the sword at the same time, and that was literally impossible for me to do by myself because one, I had to hold the sword and kill the sword simultaneously without messing up either one, and 2, my second character would always be dead before then, and also 3, even if my character survived, there's no way they'd have enough DPS on their own to kill it in time. So Susano's literally impossible to unsync alone. And then Tsukiyomi is actually possible. In fact, I did it a couple times. I had to do it on Warrior, and in order to sort of meet the DPS check of the ad phase, I actually had to usually get a stack or 2 of Echo. But it was technically possible, but the amount of time it took for me to kill Tsukiyomi by myself on Warrior was quite a while, to the point where it was just so much more of a hassle than just literally just waiting in queue to do it. And I literally only had to wait in queue for that in Susano and the 3 Crystal Towers, so I figured, yeah, I might as well just wait in queue for Tsukiyomi as well. Yeah, those were the only 5 things I could not unsync throughout my entire run through all 8 characters on this second account from 1 to 70. So yeah, everything else I unsynced and carried myself through, and it was a breeze. And yeah, that was it. That was literally like it. I mean, I did it so often that it got to the point where I was really getting really efficient. Like I knew where everything was going to be. I knew the quests. I knew where the quests were going to turn in. It got to the point where I'd memorized where all the ether currents were in the Heavensward and Stormblood areas. Like I didn't even need to use the ether compass or like look up a map on my second monitor or anything. I just memorized where they were because I've gotten this so many times. And yeah, and that was it. And honestly, getting them leveled, that was the easy part. The hard part was actually getting all the crafts done. Like the leave kits were pretty easy to do. Like I mapped up leave kits for alchemist, culinarian, and blacksmith, just in case I wanted to do and any of the turn-ins on those. Although I did settle for one in particular that I prefer anyway. But I did craft up leave kits all the way from 1 to 80 for those 3 crafts in particular, and I leveled up a bunch of crafters using leave kits that I made on my main character. It was pretty easy, simple, time consuming, but pretty easy and simple to do. Yeah, and the hard part came after I got everything leveled, or actually it started kind of earlier on than before I had it leveled, because I also was basically racing against the clock to gather enough materials, craft enough items to use up all my leaves before I overcap them. Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, it's not that big of a deal when you only have one character, or even just two characters, because it's like you get 6 leaves every day. If you just mass craft a bunch for one day, I mean, you don't have to worry about it for another 2 weeks basically. But for me, I was literally doing 15 characters worth of leaves, and if you add all those up together, six leaves per character, that's 90 leaves every day. 90 leaves, that's almost as much as one person would mass craft once every 2 weeks, and I was having to do that amount every single day. Now thankfully, I am crazy, and I was actually, since I had 2 accounts, I could have one on my PC, one on my PS4, and I could basically craft twice as much on both characters at the same time. I actually set up my PS4 so that I had my key bindings on my keyboard for PS4, which I don't really use other than, typing in free company chat because I play with the controller anyway. Basically set it up so I had the arrow keys on my keyboard for PS4 basically keybind to do the confirm button and also to macros. So I could literally macro craft on my PS4 using just the arrow keys on my keyboard, and then I could craft on my PC, yeah, that's what I did. Macro crafting on PS4 with 2 buttons on my keyboard. It was actually pretty nice. It got to the point where I could actually just macro craft on PS4 while I was doing leveling my characters on PC, because it was so easy to do. Like literally I had to take my hand off the controller for a couple seconds to press a couple keys on the keyboard in my little keyboard tray, and that was it. And then I had the sound effects rolling from my PS4 into my headset as well, using OBS and my Elgato, so I could hear when the craft completed because of the sound effect, and I didn't even need to have the screen up on my other monitor most of the time. I had like the preview from OBS up on the other monitor, but it was like super small, and I usually had like YouTube or something else running while I was doing this, so I could keep myself entertained while I did it. And even after I was done, like I could literally just craft, like I said, on 2 characters. It was pretty awesome. So yeah, that's what I did. As for what I settled on, actually, the most popular items I feel like most people craft are coffee biscuits and dwarven mithril files. Coffee biscuits for culinarian, mithril files for blacksmith. Both of those are great, but I had problems with them. The first off, coffee biscuits, significantly less profit than mithril files. Significantly less. But the good thing about coffee biscuits is that since they're a food item, you can stack them up to 999, so you can mass craft them and store them, which is really nice. And also gathering the materials for them, pretty easy. You can all get them with botanists. You can mass craft the ingredients and hold on to them if you want in your inventory pretty quickly or pretty easily. Coffee biscuits really easy to make. Mithril files, a lot more of a pain in the ass. The amount of materials needed to craft 1 coffee biscuit, or 1 batch of coffee biscuits, I guess, since you technically make 3 with each craft, versus 1 dwarven mithril file is insane. Like, you literally have to get, I think, 14 materials just to craft 1 dwarven mithril file, and you also need to do 3 prerequisite crafts before you can even start to craft the file, versus coffee biscuits, which it's kind of weird because you need like 5 sugar beets and 5 wheats to make, or 5 wheats to make the flour, right? And then you need flour, coffee beans, and beet sugar, I think, to make the coffee biscuit. So it averages out to like 4.4 materials or something like that, 4.2. And there is some prerequisite crafting, but you can mass craft those, and 5 equals 3, so it's not that bad. And so, the point is, dwarven mithril files, pain in the ass to make. Also, you can't stack them. Like, each file takes up 1 slot in your inventory, so it's a pain in the ass. You have to be sitting like right at the guy to turn them in. I mean, it's really good. Like the jump in profit is pretty high for dwarven mithril files, and I can see why people do them. And it is definitely way more profitable than coffee biscuits, but also just way more of a pain in the ass. And I didn't like making them, so what I actually settled on was commanding craftsman syrup. And I think the reason why people don't like making the syrup as much as the files of biscuits is because you need hydrosia and umbrellas, which are monster drops. Everything you need to craft mithril files or coffee biscuits, you can literally just gather yourself whenever you want on miner or botanist. You don't have to kill enemies or anything. But with the syrup, you need hydrosium umbrellas, which are monster drops. You need to go kill those. Or you can do what I did and actually just have battle retainers. And I actually have 9 of them across of my 2 characters, my 2 main characters anyway. So I was able to basically secure 90 hydrosium umbrellas every hour as long as I was logging onto both characters every hour. And I was able to basically get pretty much a consistent stock of over 10,000 hydrosium umbrellas, anywhere from 10 to 20,000 hydrosium umbrellas basically. And I was able to maintain that basically the entire time for the past year or so that I've been commanding craftsman syrup. I think it's commanding craftsman syrup. It might be cunning craftsman syrup, one of those two. Whichever one the red one is. So yeah, that's what I've been making. And mass crafting that, it's really nice. Just like coffee biscuits, you can bulk them up into 999 stacks, which is really nice. Someone's using a leaf blower outside, which is really cool. But yeah, and like it got to the point where I'd literally craft and have thousands of these stored up, and you might think that's excessive, but when you actually do the math, I need like 810 of these every day for all of my characters. So having thousands of them is really only enough for like maybe a week. So yeah, I was always fighting against the clock, and it was kind of fun, honestly, but also a bit stressful because sometimes I just wanted to do something else. You know, whether it be something else in Final Fantasy XIV or maybe just playing another game entirely. But I stuck with it. I literally had a Google Doc spreadsheet where I kept track of all the amount of allowances I had on every character, and I was constantly, you know, basically shifting the amount of syrup I'd have to put on each character to be able to turn them in, to make sure that no one was overcapping, reaching that 100 allowance mark and overcapping basically. And yesterday being December 1st, Wednesday, the day before maintenance went down for Endwalker. Today being Thursday, the day maintenance is currently happening. Yesterday, I literally did, and I calculated this out, I did like over 1,300 leave turn-ins. Like if you were in the Crystarium on Wednesday, you probably saw a bunch of people, or at least saw a bunch of stuff in the shop chat maybe, of people just complaining about having to turn in and craft so much stuff to get their leave allowances down and basically get the most out of the unnerfed triple turn-ins. There's the last day to do it. Everyone procrastinated until this day to do it. And everyone was complaining, oh man, I have to do so many. And I'm just sitting here like, dude, that's like 100 or less, maybe 200. I'm sure there's at least a few people who probably have 2 or 3 characters doing it. I had 15. Granted, not all of mine were like capped. Like a lot of them were like hovering between like the 70 to 88 mark. Yeah, man, I just so many leaves that day. It took like 5 hours, but I literally got every single character down to 0 leave allowances except for my main. I kept about 40 leaves on my main because I'm planning to use those to help level up my crafters once the expansion drops. But yeah, that was fun. And yeah, so that's what I did. And it was really it was kind of crazy. I mean, it was a lot of work. It was easy to do. Like, it was super simple and easy to do, but I hope you can understand the amount of time, commitment, and just sheer effort it took to put in that much time and do so much tedious stuff over and over again. I don't know why I put myself through it. It was simultaneously just painful, but also just very satisfying and rewarding and kind of fun just to be able to be like, hey, I have 16 characters. How long can I push myself to keep these characters up and make some gil, And, basically I was very comfortably, once I had all 15 characters in Shadowbringers doing leaves, I was very comfortably making 2 million gil a day, basically. Just from leaves, and that's not counting all the other ways I, sell stuff here and there and, get some gil from hunt bills and stuff or whatever. Roulettes give some gil challenges, And yeah, so I was making very comfortably 2 million gil a day. You know, I hit the 1 billion mark a month or two ago, so that was really cool. I honestly probably have way more gil than I will ever be able to spend fast enough in this game now. I honestly, like, I don't know what I could possibly buy to just completely empty out my coffers at this point. And also I'm a serious penny pincher. Like, even with this much gil, I still have a hard time buying stuff that seems unfairly expensive. So I feel like even if there's something I really want, I'm still gonna wait and try and wait it out and make sure it goes down and get it at a very cheap-ish fair price. You know, that's just kind of the person I am. So, and not to mention that fact that I'll still be making gil. You know, I do intend, like I said, I'm free. You know, I'm done. Especially with the nerf to leaves, like they're nerfing triple turn-ins, they're buffing other ones. Especially with the nerf coming in, I'm done. You know, I made my gil. I made plenty of it. I don't need to do this anymore. So I'm gonna probably retire my second account for Endwalker. I'm gonna be busy doing a bunch of other stuff on my main account and my two main characters anyway. You know, there's gonna be so much stuff to do this level, make videos and stuff. So I'm way too busy to be doing mass crafting like that. But I'll still be, you know, probably doing it for my main characters and probably the characters on my main account eventually. But as for my second account, I don't see myself resubbing on that account for probably a long while. Like that, I had a lot of fun in that account, don't get me wrong. It was a really odd and long experience, but it was cool. You know, how many people do you know can say that they leveled up 15 characters? You know, how many people? It's just, that's crazy. No one would do that. No one in their right mind would do that. But I sat here and I did it, and it's just kind of funny now to look back and be like, how the hell did I do this without just wanting to quit, you know? But never, like, it was tedious, but never in my mind did I think to myself, oh man, I don't feel like doing this right now. No, I was always psyched to make any amount of progress. It got to the point where sometimes I would go through the whole entire, you know, Heaven's Word or Stormblood storyline in just like one day on a character. And it'd feel really rewarding to just be able to knock out that much story in just one day. It was also really fun to basically just relive some of my favorite moments in Heaven's Word. I stopped every time after I stopped every time after the final steps of Fate to watch that cutscene with Justinian and pulling out the eyes. I love that cutscene so much. But yeah, it's crazy. But I'm done. I'm looking forward to Endwalker for sure. I just wanted to make this video to just get this off my chest, you know, and share it. And share this crazy experience with you guys. It was a lot of fun. And I don't know, I mean, since we're all just sitting here waiting for maintenance to end and to get into early access so we can sit in queue for hours in early access instead. I'm very anxious about early access this time around. A lot of people have jumped on the Final Fantasy 14 train, and while I'm glad that the devs are getting all that success and finally, you know, getting, you know, the recognition they deserve, you know, for all the hard work they put in over the 8+ years they've been working on the game, it also worries me because I want to be able to play the game without fear of the servers crashing or having to wait in queue for hours. But I mean, it's a good problem to have, I guess, for the game to be too popular, right? So, yep, I'm done with this. It was fun. I can't wait for Endwalker, guys. It's gonna be so much fun. I had a lot of fun with Shadowbringers. My biggest regret with Shadowbringers is actually the fact that I didn't do as much content for Shadowbringers. I think even compared to Heavensward and Stormblood, I did a lot less content for Shadowbringers than I did for those two. And I loved Shadowbringers, but the problem with Shadowbringers is that, you know, I was doing stuff like this. You know, I was doing stuff like this, which is very tedious, not very fun to watch. A lot of crafting and gathering, and I wasn't doing a whole lot of the dungeon stuff or the raid stuff, you know. But yeah, and you know, now so many people have jumped on. It's like sometimes I just kind of feel anxious myself, you know. I've always kind of felt anxious about this whole YouTube thing, and because, you know, I've always been a really big introvert. I never talk with people. I know it seems like I'm super talkative, but it's because I basically forced myself to sort of act a little bit more peppy than usual. And yeah, now it's like sometimes it makes me anxious. It's like, where is even my place in all of this? But I just got to remember that, you know, it is what it is. You know, maybe I'm not going to be super popular, but it's all about having fun in the end. And as long as I'm having fun and sharing that with some of you, and you guys want to have fun with me, I guess that's really all I could ask for. So thank you to everyone who stuck around and who watched my videos, even though they're probably not as frequent as they used to be, and some of them maybe not be what you're looking for if it's not Final Fantasy related. But I really appreciate everyone who stuck around, and I hope to sort of redeem myself a bit with Endwalker. You know, I'm looking forward to the fresh slate, to start over and really do what I didn't do for Shadowbringers and just make more content and have more fun with you guys, you know? I mean, I'm still going to be doing a lot of crafting and tedious stuff, but I'm sure I'm going to be having fun along the way and share some more fun moments with you guys. That's really what I hope for. And also, yeah, it's gonna be fun, I hope. You know, there's more free company members that are active now than there were in Shadowbringers or Stormblood, so that's really cool. Really humbled that people want to be in my free companies. I am a terrible free company master. I don't lead anything. I literally I make sure the free company exists, and that is basically the end of my role in that regard, because I can't lead or organize anything. But I'm very humbled that people want to stick around in that free company. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun, even just hanging out with a few people who are online. So thank you so much, Shadowbringers. Your cycle has been a little bit longer than every other expansion cycle. There's been some hardships, and Endwalker has been delayed quite a bit, comparatively. And I'm not just talking about this 2-week delay, I'm talking about in general. Like, usually our expansions come out in the summertime. Now it's coming out basically nearly at the end of the year. So, but I'm sure it's gonna be worth the wait, and I'm very looking forward to it. So yeah, I'll see you guys in another video. If it's a live stream, just know that I am going to be absolutely scared and anxious out of my mind. Whew, I haven't live streamed in months, and every time I do, it scares the shit out of me. I don't know, man. There's just something about just being live that just makes my heart absolutely just pump, and I can't calm down, and I just feign being calm. I much prefer the comfort of recording and knowing that if I say something or do something stupid, I can just edit it out later. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in Endwalker. Sayonara. Bye bye.